The goddess plans on teaching him other techniques later on, but gets reminded that he already knows all of them. However, Ojin refuses and tells her that there are few memories he can't remember after he regresses, adding that one of those memories contains the techniques of the Vega star's stigma. He further convinces the goddess that he can't remember certain parts of the memories. Well, it appears that Ojin saves himself from the future dilemma, lying to her just in case she asks him to use a skill that he doesn't know out of nowhere. Meanwhile, Vega finds it strange that the regression that occurred due to the Star of Oath should not have any memory loss. Our boy tries to reason with her, justifying that like Constellation's commandments have restrictions. Similarly, transcendental powers aren't able to influence all of his memories. Getting a bit doubtful about this, the goddess thinks that it might be possible, and to clear that hint of doubt, Ojin enters the scene, claiming that he hasn't forgotten what's truly important, and that are memories of the goddess. Rizzing her to lessen her suspicions, our guy tries his best to gain her trust while the goddess blushes too hard, flustered at how he is able to say such embarrassing things like "it's nothing." Meanwhile, Ojin takes the lead with his scammer Riz skills, as he knows that she is weak against words like that. After a while, Vega feels an ominous energy that she can't seem to describe and informs Quan about this. To his surprise, Ojin finds a crystal, and it turns out to be a mutated mer crystal. Holding the crystal, he reckons that they aren't supposed to be this common, and what's worse is that he found multiple of them, making him conclude that something is off. As Vega is also shocked to see black mer crystals, Ojin speculates that even the goddess hasn't seen this before. Just then, he informs Vega that he's going to go in further, as our guy is curious to find out more about this. Heading in, Ojin feels something is definitely off, as the situation that even the constellations don't know about keeps occurring, wondering what on earth is the black mer crystal. In the meantime, Vega mumbles that she's been feeling that they have been going in circles, making Ojin think that he got caught. While he thinks that nothing can be done, at that moment, he is interrupted by a pungent smell and follows the scent along with the goddess. Heading in the direction of the scent of the black slimes he just met, Vega asserts that the ominous she felt earlier has gotten even stronger here. Strangely, they find a huge stone statue placed in the middle, and Ojin immediately anticipates that it's a relic. Wonderstruck by the sight of the relic, our guy is left in awe just by the thought of how much it will fetch him. Even a one-star relic can fetch him 10 million won or more. Immersed in his daydream, Ojin drools over the amount of money he will get if it's a 6-star relic and finds himself showered in money. Peeking at Ojin acting like a weirdo, Vega is kind of confused when he looks at his weird eyes. Speaking of money, snapping out of it, Ojin decides to obtain the relic quickly. However, he is welcomed by the unpleasant creatures once again. Surrounded by the black slimes, our guy seems to know this was happen, thinking that these fucking weaklings are guarding the relic. But Ojin doesn't mind fighting as many of them and keeps his eyes on the prize. Feeling pretty confident, our boy is deflated when he notices the black slime getting bigger, turning into a fucking strong monster. While Ojin nearly loses his shit as he confronts the big monster, Vega puts trust in him, saying that it looks like he already knew it'd turn out like this. Scared to death, our guy doesn't seem to know about this, and while his weak ass stands in front of the monster, the goddess seems to rest assured, and decides to observe without a worry, just as Ojin had told her. Acting strong, Ojin assures the goddess that he'll handle, but low-key he has been fucked big time, figuring out how to fight this creature. Confronting the giant monster, our main character instantly regrets that he got a bit too much of himself, because of the joy of seeing the holy relic, not realizing that he'd been putting himself in a hell of a situation. Never fought a big creature like this before? Ojin panics as he is certain that he has a 0 chance at winning. Those black slimes were all easy as fuck. He doubts that those easy monsters suddenly became invincible. At that moment, he pulls out a gun he used to carry for self-defense. Glad that he bought this as a light flare, he shoots at the monster, calling him son of bitch. The monster gets shot, and while it gets distracted, Ojin takes the only chance to take the monster down, as the petty trick like light flare won't work again. Just like that, he picks up the spear and decides to put everything in one ultimate attack, leaping towards the monster with the spear charged with blue lighting skill. While Ojin manages to stab the monster, it doesn't seem to work, so he goes for another attack. But before he could do that, the monster nearly tears him apart by charging multiple long tentacles at him. Luckily, Ojin gets saved by the rope tied around the rock and holds onto it. Holding on to his dear life, he thought that the monster was going to fire a missile or something, but he's glad that he survived, or else he would have been crushed by the attack with a speed like that. Releasing himself, Ojin falls down, and at the right time, he strikes 1,000,000 bolts towards the monster. With the power so immense, our guy hardly stables the power, but he successfully kills the monster. Feeling that he could pass out at any moment, Ojin gets happy as he succeeds in defeating the monster, wondering if it is because he used blue lighting twice. Suddenly Vega calls him out and it turns out that the monster isn't dead as it attacks Ojin. Before he could even flinch, our guy takes the hit as he crashes far away. While our guy is badly hurt, the monster seems to have awakened and this time even its appearance has changed. Having no other choice, Ojin pleads with the goddess to give him a blessing, and she immediately bestows the blessing of stars upon him. With the proficiency of Lyra's stigma increasing, the effect feels stronger than last time, making Quan wonder if it's because he's improved since the last time he received a blessing from her. Getting Vega's blessing, Ojin comes back stronger and blue energy emitting more than ever. He soars towards the monster, striking 1 blue lighting per punch. He uses up his mana quickly because his mana is endless, and with that, he punches the monster. Going berserk, Ojin keeps striking the lightning punches like a maniac until the goddess shouts and stops him, telling him that it's already over. Snapping out of it, our main character is shaken by what just happened as he was feeling so pumped. Just then, he experiences pain in his chest, and Vega realizes something that makes her jaw drop. Feeling like this stigma is burning, it emerges that Lyra's stigma levels up to 3 stars, and the lighting powers also increase. Witnessing that he has reached 3 stars within a month, Vega is not quite happy about it as she reckons that a North Star stigma is incomparably hard to raise, but Ojin's speed is pretty fast. At that moment, the goddess peeks at Ojin, who seems to have collapsed, and tries to wake him up. Later, Ojin can barely open his eyes when he witnesses Vega. Thinking that it's a dream, he calls Vega by her name. Finally coming to his senses, our guy realizes that the goddess is back to its original size, and freaks out when he finds himself on Vega's lap. Flustered, he tries to get up but the goddess smacks his face, telling him to stay down for a bit longer. She then states that Ojin overworked himself because he passed out as soon as the battle was over, adding that he's more aggressive than he looks. Being diligent, she scolds him to take care of himself, as he may be a regressor, but he's a human. Keeping that in mind, our guy presumes that she always calls him child, but now she's really acting like a mom. Nonetheless, Ojin stares at her and speculates that Vega is doubting him because he barely won even with the help of her blessing. But he had no choice. Just then, the goddess calls him out and asks him if he just called her by her name earlier, while Ojin is left in a daze, wondering what's this about. Blushing, Vega clarifies that she's not trying to scold him so he can just keep calling her by her name if he wants. Clearing her throat, she reminds him that they have an intimate relationship as she blushes hard, putting Ojin in a tough spot as he gets awkward. To make things clear, he immediately clarifies that he was out of his mind earlier, and this makes Vega mad at him as she grabs his cheeks, asking if he doesn't want to talk to her casually anymore. While poor Ojin appears to be in pain, to save himself from further pain, he tells Vega that he'll talk to her casually from now on, making the goddess happy. After a while, the restrictions seem to begin as the goddess' powers get weak, and she thinks that recovering this time will take quite a while. Watching her struggling, our boy apologizes to her and reckons that he used too much of Lyra's power in excitement, and this wouldn't have happened if he just didn't pass out. Meanwhile, Vega affirms that he doesn't need to apologize as the monster was strong enough to be a 5-star monster. At that moment, Ojin feels really light, and just as he is about to ask how she healed him, his eyes land on the empty potion bottles and panics as each one costs 1,000,001. Feeling ecstatic, Vega proudly tells him that used the potions on him so that he could wake up faster. Left in disbelief, our guy sobs his heart out thinking how much money he has lost. Seeing him cry, the goddess assumes that he's touched that he's crying, but Ojin seems to be traumatized. As our guy cries the tears of inner pain, he curiously asks Vega how she feeds the potions to him. Hearing this question, the goddess starts to panic as she turns red, and in an instant, she leaves, rushing inside the pendant. After she leaves, Ojin decides to think about more important things, and heads to start collecting his loot. Collecting the power of the holy relic, he wonders what it does and takes it out, hoping that it's better than a 3-star. Suddenly a black strong energy begins to burst out of the holy relic, and it appears that the black heavens start to absorb the power of the dark star within the holy relic. With the power of the dark star absorbing successfully, the black heavens trait evolves that will not only hide the aura of black heaven, but also its entire existence. Feeling an enormous amount of aura, Ojin was shocked as he didn't know that the black heavens could absorb power from holy relics. Peeking at the empty holy relic, our guy freaks out thinking that it's useless now because the black heavens absorbed it. The sticky aura he felt when he first touched seems to be gone, which makes Ojin go mad, as the poor guy rolls on the floor and cries like a baby to get that holy relic back he worked so hard for. Sad that now his money is gone as the relic is absorbed. Our guy's sad moments are interrupted by a group of people who were expecting someone here before them. Peeking at the boys in hooded cloaks, Ojin wonders who these bastards are, and just then one of the guys demands the thing he has in his hands, the holy relic. At that moment, his scam instincts kick in, and our guy asks them to buy it off of him, pondering that he might be able to bait them. Knowing that business is about attitude, Ojin continues to fool them, and reveals that this relic doesn't really fit his skill type, clarifying that life is more valuable than a holy relic. Hearing this, one of the guys in the cloak laughs hysterically, and assures Ojin that they weren't going to harm him. The guy justifies that they happen to have ominous clothing as that's what their guildmaster likes, while Ojin laughs it off saying he was just being dramatic. But deep down, our guy knows that it wasn't a misunderstanding, as he noticed the murderous intent coming from him the moment he saw the holy relic. In addition, these bastards have the same power as the dark star that the holy relic had. Taking the bait, the guy deals with Ojin and gives him myrrh crystals as a payment. Dribbling at the sight of shiny crystal, our guy seems to hit the jackpot as the large crystal is worth 300 million won, and he can catch 400 million for it. Trying to act much elated, Quan leaves them to it while the guy in the cloak thanks them for the deal. Going back, our ultimate scammer manages to sell that glorified empty holy relic tin to that pushover who took the bait at impeccable timing. However, he decides to hide behind a rock as he finds those guys fishy as hell. Hiding, Ojin inspects that there are too many questionable things after he found the relic. Firstly, according to Lee Shin-yuk's memories, the relic should have been found 6 days after today. However, he found it before that. Baffled, he continues to speculate that it's almost as if the guys in cloaks knew when that relic would occur, and that they were targeting it. Thinking if the future changed somehow, our guy decides to wait and see. On the contrary, one of the cloak guys asks their leader Yujin why he didn't kill the guy back there. The leader Yujin justifies that he didn't want to leave a troublesome trail for other metahumans to pursue, and warns his members that he won't explain every little detail to them. Holding the relic, Yujin reveals that the age of stars is coming to an end, and the dark stars will soon rule the skies, adding that all the arrogant stars shall pay the price for their sins. While his henchmen bow down and praise the glory of the Dark Star Society, Yujin smiles and mutters that the dark stars must be smiling brightly upon the sight of loyalty. After that, the guys seem to be discussing something about the relic that has to be swiped, and Yujin replaces the fake relic on the stone. Completing their mission, as they head back outside of the gate, Yujin asks one of his members if he remembers the face of the guy he just made a deal with, commanding his man to go after Ojin and kill him. Putting on a sinister smile, the leader plans to head back and report to the bailiff, and in the meantime his members kill the guy. Witnessing the whole evil conspiracy, Ojin realizes this is how it turned out as he discovers that the future didn't change. The relic that Lee Woo-hyuk's guild found was actually swapped by these Dark Star guys. That's why in Lee's memory they said something was weird. Now that our guy knows the maneuver, he thinks that Dark Star Society is an illegal guild operating in shadows, and comes to the conclusion that they are fucking shady. Walking towards the statue, he picks up the fake relic that they left behind, and wonders if the Black Heavens will absorb this too. To his surprise, the Black Heavens don't seem to react, which makes him think that it's not the relic, but the Dark Star's power within that reaction. Getting as happy as ever, Ojin thinks that it is so sweet of them to give him a fist-sized myrrh crystal and a relic. This brings him one more step closer to his goal, and that is to catch the henchman who's busting his ass off doing nothing. On the other side, Yujin's henchman struggles to find Ojin, wondering where the hell did he go. With no traces of him leaving this place, the guy looks over the whole damn place but didn't even find a fucking single ant. Getting reminded of his boss, the guy has no choice but to locate Ojin, or else he'll be doomed. Frustrated, the henchman shouts and asks where the hell he is when suddenly he gets stabbed from behind, and our boy tells him that he's right here. Panicked, the guy is frightened to death and starts questioning Ojin. However, our guy informs him that he's mistaken about something, clarifying that he will be the one asking questions. Beating the crap out of the poor guy, the henchman begs for life, and our guy only plans on letting him go once he spills everything he knows. The next scene flips to the Dark Star Society's bailiff, who's 6th in rank, Owl King, Cheon Do-yoon. The Owl King asks Yujin if he has brought the goods, to which the guy says yes. Just then, Cheon Do-yoon calls out the owls, and all the members start gathering in one place. Saying that it's time, Yujin places the holy relic inside the symbolic circle, and announces that the brilliant night sky will now be covered with dark stars. Yujin enthusiastically stretches his arms, waiting for some kind of magic to happen, and believing that the dark stars will shower them with their blessings. However, things take an unexpected turn when the holy relic stumbles, and a strike of terror runs through Yujin as he tries to explain things to the Owl King. On the other hand, the henchman spills the truth, revealing that the Dark Society is an organization formed by the Dark Star's constellations. As Ojin curiously asks him about the Dark Star's constellations, the guy unveils that for a long time, when all the stars were swallowed up by darkness, the constellations that were born during the era were the Dark Star's constellations. Not getting a thing through his head, Ojin smacks his head, saying how the fuck he is supposed to understand if he explains like this. while the poor guy tries to tell him that's how it was explained to him as well. After that, our boy asks him how many of them there are and the location of their base, to which the henchman lets out that their base is at the peak of Bagan Mountain, where the abandoned observatory is, and the underground floor of the observatory is their branch base, adding that there are 50 members in the society. Asking about the main base, the guy seems to be clueless about it, but Ojin tries to threaten him with the spear and, scared for his life, the guy immediately spills that only the heads are aware of the main branches. A minion like him doesn't even know where the other branches are. Annoyed, our guy gets convinced that higher-ups won't reveal the information to a loser like him, and goes on to question the guy about why he is obeying such a suspicious figure in the first place. While Ojin is certain that society didn't do anything great for them, the henchman sincerely answers that Yujin bestowed stigmas upon them, leaving our guy in utter shock. Giving it a thought, Ojin ruminates how Yujin bestowed stigmas when he's not even a constellation. Clueless of how this works, our guy becomes sure that the guy is using stigmas to fool the people, because that's how these people are following this suspicious organization. But it doesn't surprise him much, as he's aware this world is full of people who would even kill their family members to be awakened. Nonetheless, Ojin finishes up the interrogation and decides to end things here. The henchman shouts frantically and pleads with Quan not to kill him. With tears streaming down his face, the guy reveals that he has a daughter and he entered the society for her daughter's sake. Thinking that he's a daughter, Ojin stops for a moment and knows the fact that an orphan cannot survive in this insane world. Well, it looks like our main character is a softie, as he plans to spare the guy. He asks every single thing about his daughter, including her name, age, favorite food, height, and weight. Meanwhile, the guy answers all his questions. Unexpectedly, Ojin points the spear at him and tells him to answer his questions backward now. With an evil grin on his face, our guy seems to be testing him and aims the spear at his head. While the henchman goes quiet and is unable to answer, Ojin realizes in an instant that it's hard to repeat a lie in a different order. Being very well versed in fraud as a scammer, our guy asks him the location of the main branch and without a flinch, stabs the henchman. After killing the guy, Ojin knows one thing for sure, and that is, the Dark Star Society is pretty powerful, and not some bunch of idiots that are good for scamming just like him. He then thinks of taking care of the dead body and notices the Dark Star stigma on the guy's chest. As soon as Ojin touches it, the black heavens absorb the owl stigma. Absorbing the power, he gets curious about what kind of power the Dark Star's stigma will have. Remembering that their society has 50 people, Ojin seems aware that they won't let it slide easily, and prepares for the consequences. On the other side, the Owl King approaches Yunjin and asks him what he's doing, saying if the other executors witnessed this, they would have mocked the owl so much. At that moment, the king strikes his energy and partially gets past Yunjin's neck, making it bleed. As the guy appears to be in pain, King Cheon warns him not to disappoint him again, and leaves as he loses interest while the other members mockingly laugh at him. Just then, Yujin dashes to his team and asks them about the guy who went to kill that bastard he made a deal with. To his surprise, the members inform him that they've lost contact with him, which makes Yujin even more mad as he commands his henchmen to find that son of a bitch, calling them useless pieces of shit. It is revealed to us that it's been a week since Quan Ojin came back from the new gate in Mokdong and has not visited any other gates. Instead, he's been staying at home. The reason for that is our guy is getting used to the mana and body that has explosively improved in strength when he reached 3 stars, practicing and getting stronger as fast as he could. In the shower, Ojin ponders how overpowered Lyra's stigma is. It's stronger than Taurus, which specializes in power, and faster than Scorpion, which specializes in speed, concluding that the other people won't be able to catch up to him if they're all the same 3 stars. Meanwhile, he's thinking about the spear he's using, and he witnesses Song, who calls him to lie on the bed, giving him a massage. Ojin asks her why she's giving him a massage all of a sudden, and Song gets pissed, asking if he's complaining. Feeling nice, our guy thinks that Haeun is talking as if she's pissed, but she's actually putting effort into the massage. Just then, her massage turns into pain as she asks Ojin if he's feeling good, calling him a piece of shit while our guy screams out of pain. Holding his back, Ojin mutters that if she has forgotten who she is, her strength is out of this world. Hearing these words, Song sadly looks at her amputated leg, and it is then revealed to us that this girl was an awakened who had become a 7-star, but now she's a halfling who can't use her stigma. Assuming that he has hurt her feelings, Song breaks the silence and asks Quan if he's earning a lot of money after becoming an awakened, to which he responds that he's earning a ton. Sitting together, the girl confesses that they won't have much time left to spend together like this. This makes Ojin sad as he agrees and ruminates that soon enough he will reach his goal of 10 billion won, and then everything will be over. While it looks like Han is gonna cry any minute, she leans her hand towards Ojin's and bursts into laughter as she smacks him hard, telling him not to get so serious. Just then, Ojin finds a way to escape from Song's smacking when he receives a call from the leader, Han Junman. Taking the phone call, the team leader assigns him to an urgent quest. Hearing this, Ojin feels like it's not the best time for a quest, considering that he doesn't have anything prepared in case the Dark Star Society decides to retaliate. He believes that it would be best to stay put at least until Vega can regain her physical form. Sorting it out, Ojin refuses to do the quest. However, Han offers him a 2 billion reward. Well, it looks like the team leader hits his weak spots and Ojin seems so exhilarated that he almost sounds like a dog on the phone. Nonetheless, he informs Han that he will be heading to the association right away to discuss the details there. Arriving at the association, our guy seems to ask Han about something before they talk about the quest. At that moment, he shows a diagram of a stigma and asks if he has seen this before. Scanning it on his tablet, Han tells him that it's an owl stigmas. Curious, he asks the team leader if he knows something about them. And that's when Han reveals that they're one of the forgotten stigmas, which leaves Ojin quite surprised. It is then narrated that 8 years ago, when the constellations had appeared on Earth, there were definitive records of them having existed, but now, there are no traces of them. Hence they are known as forgotten stigmas. Our guy questions if there are any records about why they vanished, and Han responds that there are no records as those times were not the best environment for anyone to be writing history. Giving it a thought, our boy reckons that the owl stigma has existed since 8 years ago, which means that the Dark Star Society could also be that old. Ojin surmises that they weren't an old organization and prepares himself for what's coming as this is becoming a larger deal than he anticipated. After this, Han asks him where he found the stigma, and our guy lets out that he got into an argument with someone named Yunjin back at the gate a few days ago. They called themselves the Dark Star Society. Listening to this, the team leader plans to look into this matter of Owl Stigma and Dark Star Society. Just then, they switch their conversation to the quest, when the team leader informs him that this time the client is from the Valhalla Guild, while Ojin never heard of this quest before. Han further elucidates that they're currently on the rise, and it's a guild with the top elites, making every single one of their members talented. At least that's what people say. He reveals that their guildmaster is most powerful enough to be considered a candidate for the 7 stars. We then get to know that the 7 stars are those who transcended the human limit and possess the most influence in the world. Meanwhile, Ojin contemplates that one of the 7 stars is Korean. Assuming that they are going to have a second Korean 7 stars member, Han comes back to the point. He reveals that the quest is to find a missing person in a gate, and for that reason, they need a skilled awakened, while our guy realizes why the reward is 2 billion won. Getting into the details, the team leader informs him that the person went missing on the 6th November, and with no exact location where he was last seen. Apparently it's most likely one of the 1 to 2 star gates in Incheon. Well, it turns out Incheon is Ojin's home ground where he has been scamming people for the past few years and he plans to get this done within 3 days. However, an unexpected twist comes in when Han uncovers that the missing person is a male in his 20s with the name Lee Shin-hyuk. While the team leader asks him if he can do this, our guy is thrown into a state of shock and panic as he is aware that this guy is already dead. Ojin is well aware of the fact that Lee Shin-hyuk, whom he met at the low-level gate in the past, was the real regressor, and the only person who'd been looking for him when he's dead. Thinking that he's missing and is likely the guildmaster of Valhalla, must be Lee Woo-hyuk, Shin-hyuk's younger brother. He grasps the situation, thinking that originally Lee Shin-hyuk would be lying in a hospital bedroom. However, with Lee's death, the future has changed too. Nonetheless, he yanks out his thoughts when Han asks him if he will accept the job. Deep down, our guy is tangled up in situations as he feels dizzy thinking about Dark Star Society that is already a pain in the ass, and now he's about to get involved in the stuff about Lee Shin-hyuk. While things seem to be getting messy for him, Ojin tries to use his brain, connecting Lee Shin-hyuk and Lee Woo-hyuk, a twisted future and fate, and the Dark Star Society. Suddenly something clicks in his mind like a straight con man that he is, and he decides to use them together. Just after that, Ojin refuses to take this quest, which makes Han freak out, stating the Ojin he knows would never turn down a job worth 2 million. As our guy justifies that finding people is not his talent, the team leader tells him that the Valhalla Guild has a good relationship with their association, and he thought it'd be nice if Ojin formed a friendly relationship with them as well. Laughing it off, our guy hopes there will be other chances, and instead, he asks for Valhalla's guild number. With that, he begins his hunt. The next scene takes us to Mokdong's newly formed gate, where the crowd seems to be filling up, and we witness our boy Ojin waiting for someone to come out. Getting tired of waiting, he decides to leave the place and thinks of finishing this before Vega wakes up. Immersed in the crowd, Ojin spots a guy who seems to be observing him, and without wasting a second, our guy dashes away while that guy follows him. Following Ojin's direction, the guy seems to have lost him. However, he hears a voice saying that he was worried that they quit looking for him, but he's quite the persistent folk. It turns out that our guy lures in the man following him. Taking off his hat, the guy instantly strikes his stigma at Ojin. While our boy dodges the sudden attack, he notices that it's the power of the Strix's stigma. Now that he gets an idea of the stigma's power, Ojin says that it's time for the farewell, and with that, he uses the spear lighting power that incredibly moves in waves, and our guy eventually wins as he catches the guy. Well, it looks like our guy is roughly prepared for what is coming for him ahead. But he does not let his guard down, as this mere henchman of the Dark Art Society wasn't an easy opponent, leading him to think that the bailiffs must be even stronger. Thinking that it doesn't matter, Ojin takes out his phone and captures the picture of his spear. With an evil grin on his face, he calls someone who'd handle them for him. The scene then switches to Valhalla Guild, where Kim Seon-young receives a phone call, and the person on the call asks to speak with the guildmaster. However, as the girl is about to hang up the call, she is taken aback as the person on the phone claims to have found the guy Lee Shin-yuk. That's when Seon-young rushes to the guildmaster's office and informs him of the situation. The guildmaster Lee Woo-hyuk takes the phone and confirms that his brother has been found. Well, here comes a plot twist as the person on the phone call claiming to find Lee Shin-yuk turns out to be none other than our perfect scammer Ojin. He informs Lee Woo-hyuk that they're holding his brother while Lee gets mad, thinking what kind of nonsense is that? But to his surprise, Ojin sends him evidence which appears to be the picture of Shin-yuk's spear. While Woo-hyuk seems to believe that the guy really has found his brother, he asks who the hell he is. Thinking like an ultimate bamboozler, Ojin decides to unleash the Hound, a feral one, who will rip his enemies' throats on his behalf. Killing two birds with one stone, our guy introduces himself as Yujin, awakening the Hound that goes by the name Lee Woo-hyuk.